and welcome to the channel. My name is Anna Maria and this is the 12th episode I'm doing in a series about the witch trials. And in this episode I will talk about Denmark. I will remind everyone that the witch trials were brutal, and some of the themes I will take up can be distressing, especially when it comes to the punishments and the sentences for the accused. So a warning for the episode. There are very few documents left from the witch trials in Denmark, but there are some from specific cases and trials, and also from a part of Denmark called Jylland. Sorcery and magic became a crime in 1170, but there are no documents that show executions until the 16th century. It became more strict when it came to the law, and more people got accused. In 1547 it was decided that you could not use torture before a verdict, and in 1576 a case had to be confirmed in high court to give a death sentence. Then we have the Witchcraft Act of 1617 that had two very important points in it. One was that if you didn't communicate with the devil or had any sort of interaction with him, you just used sorcery and magic, you would probably get exiled. But if you did have a pact with the devil and you did communicate with him, then you would get executed. You could say that this trial started in 1589, but the trial itself intensified during 1590 to 1591. And this is a bit of a different trial than I have covered before. And in the end it was 13 people that got executed. It is two events that doesn't have anything to do with each other that became one. In 1589, Anne of Denmark, who was the sister of King Christian IV of Denmark, was going over to Scotland to marry James VI of Scotland, or James I of England and Ireland that he is also known as. She had a full entourage with her, with many ships that surrounded hers and a lot of people. They had the worst time possible to get to Scotland though. It was one accident after another that happened. Cannons exploded. There were storms that got the ships out of course. People fell overboard and died. So in the end, the wedding had to be held in Norway instead. Rumors started to flare up because people wondered why there were so many accidents. And one person that got accused was a man called Christopher Falkendorf. He was of nobility and had a hand in the finances. He was accused for not giving enough resources or material for this trip, but he could prove in the end that he had given enough. At the same time, rumors about witches and that the ships had been cursed started to go around, and King James VI, or First, started to believe that. So over to the other event of the two. Anne Colding was a woman that was in prison for witchcraft in Copenhagen, and she had already been given a death sentence. She had nothing to do with the fleet of ships or the royals, but after some visitors came to her cell, all of a sudden it was a connection. Anne Coldings started to confess under torture and gave the name of 5 other women that she said was connected to the accidents on the ships. Anne was burnt at the stake in 1590, and 9 other women and a man was now accused for the accidents that happened on the ships. They confessed under torture and gave the name of 3 other women as well, and said that they had a pact with the devil. And this is how 2 separate events became one. None of these 13 people executed had anything to do with the accidents on the ships. They were scapegoats. Here it was 414 people that got executed for witchcraft between 1609 and 1687. With the Witchcraft Act of 1617, more investigations could be made into witchcraft, and the panic about witches intensified between 1617 and 1625. Here it wasn't the devil that was in focus. It was more about people's animals, property, and themselves getting hurt by witchcraft. The accused was often poor women, and it was easy to get people to accuse them. One of the executed was a woman called Maren Splid, and in 1641 she was tied to a ladder with gunpowder around her neck and then thrown into a fire. She was accused by her own husband to be a witch. And that was all for this episode about the witch trials in Denmark. In the next episode I will talk about Ireland. If you like this episode, please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget the notifications, and I will see you in the next one.